Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today marks the start of a brand new series here on the channel. I want to try to add more uniformity to the channel, you know, like content that you guys can look forward to, or maybe that you can skip if you don't like a certain series. It's difficult because I always have guests on the channel, so working with two schedules and, you know, my life and everything like that makes kind of having a, oh, every Monday is going to be this, every Tuesday is going to be this, rather difficult. But I figure, why not just schedule series, reoccurring series here on the channel that I can actually stick to that doesn't require a guest. So the first effort in that is going to be this video today. It's going to be a new series every Sunday afternoon my time, and what I want to do is kind of review the week, right? We'll review big news stories that happened. More importantly, we'll look at decks. I want to kind of track the meta, right? So we'll look at the best performing decks. We're going to start with Stats Royale, looking at the recent 12-win Grand Challenge winners. We'll talk a little bit about them, you know, where kind of the meta is shifting, what's useful, maybe some substitutions, what decks I like, what decks I don't, you know, that kind of stuff. There'll be no gameplay unless you guys think there should be. You know, this is the first episode of a new series, and as you guys know, we make this channel together. It's a two-way street here. I'm not just putting out content that I think will do well. I actually really listen to your feedback here. We're also going to look at my YouTube videos for the previous week in case some of you guys missed any, and maybe I'll talk candidly with you guys about episodes that I could have done differently, episodes that I regret, and kind of just talk about things as my channel. And maybe, like I said, you missed a video that you would have really enjoyed because you didn't know who the pro was on or something like that, so we'll do that as well. So let's go ahead and hop into it, guys. Again, if you have any feedback, you know what, Ash, I like this series, but I want to see you play, not just talk about it. Let me know in the comments and I'll add maybe some gameplay into it. But maybe you like it this way. The reason I like it this way, or the reason I thought of it doing it this way, is because it gets us a lot of content in a short amount of time. I say that as I record a, 3-minute intro here. So let's go ahead and move into the main video, guys.
And to the fans, I'll never let you down again, I'm back. I promise to never go back on that promise. In fact, let's be
Alright guys, so we're going to start by looking at the recent Grand Challenge winners, then we'll look at my YouTube videos, then we'll look at the best ladder decks in arenas. What do you guys think? Arena 12 and 11 for now. If more of you guys want Arena 10 and 9 and 8 or something like that, just let me know in the comments and we'll kind of expand upon that segment. But let's start out with the recent Grand Challenge winners. I just want to look at the first page and see what decks are winning, and I can tell you guys right off the bat that the powerful archetypes right now in terms of challenge meta, tournament standard meta, is Mortar, Mortar, Mortar. A lot of Mortar decks, a lot of Mortar Bait, a lot of Mortar Miner, but mostly Mortar Hog decks. Also Golem decks. So Golem Beatdown and Mortar, funny enough, they kind of counter each other too, right? Or I should say Golem counters Mortar, so we're seeing more Golem, right? So anyway, let's look at the first deck here, and I want to look at both sides because these are the 12th matches. So obviously the loser here got to 12 wins, whether or not they ended up going on to win that final battle afterwards. So both decks are kind of worth reviewing, at least in my eyes. When I look at this page on Stats Royale, I look at both decks and I look at them equally. Because who knows? I mean, it could have been a last-second finish anyway. Both decks could be equally viable. So the first one here is a Golem Wizard deck that I've actually shared here on the channel before a couple weeks ago, and it's really, really powerful. It's probably personally my favorite Golem deck right now in the game. I love the Wizard in the deck, and I love the NATO in there as well. And it beat, you can see here, a Valkyrie Graveyard deck. Really interesting deck with the Ice Wizard in it. So that's pretty cool to see, but no big surprises. The next deck here is going to be a Giant Beatdown here, Giant Dark Prince with the Hunter. The Giant Hunter Miner combo, sometimes with 3 spells, sometimes with 2 spells, continues to be extremely powerful and dominant in the game. No surprises there. This one's kind of a surprise. We see a 3 Musketeer deck with Poison, Zap, and Log. A 3-spell, 3 Musketeer deck. I haven't seen that in a long, long time. I don't think I've ever seen that, especially with the P.E.K.K.A. in the Valkyrie. So really interesting. I will be copying this deck and playing it after this video is over. So moving along here, we see a Mega Knight Mortar Rascal Miner deck. I told you we're going to see a lot of Mortar here. This is one of the popular iterations going on of this deck. So very, very interesting deck. And it beat a giant 3-spell deck with the Mini P.E.K.K.A. and the Musketeer. This is really one of the best classic decks in the game. I shared this in a video that we'll talk about on the YouTube segment of today's video, but it's really, really solid. It has the 3 spells, the Zap, the Log, and the Fireball. Has the Mini P.E.K.K.A, the Musketeer. If you don't have the Log and you want to try this deck, you can go ahead and sub in Arrows if you want to keep that kind of 3-spell flavor to the deck. You could also go ahead and sub in something like Minions to give you a little bit more DPS in this deck, or you could sub in Snowball if you have yours leveled up. I've seen a lot of Zap and Snowball decks do very well. So let's go ahead and move on here. Another Mortar, this one without the Mega Knight, but instead with the Skill Horde added to it. So the Miner Rascal Mortar deck, again, a 12-game winner. What did it beat? It beat the same deck, right? It did. It beat a mirror match here. It is the same deck, right? Yeah, it is. So just goes to show you how strong this deck is. Again, I shared a lot of variations of this deck in a video, I think maybe 2 weeks ago. You can see it's the only one with why people are upset about this Mortar deck or something like that. The title is that everybody hates this deck. I forgot. Oh, Ritz Crackers, what up? Get these awesome, authentic moments here when we don't edit, right? So Lyman Phenol, one with a Mirror bait deck. I've seen this deck before, and now that Mirror has the kind of soft buff where it can't appear in your opening hand, really, really solid version of this bait. And you can see there's no real tank in there. Usually we see the Princess. Usually, of course, we see a different damage spell, usually not Fireball in bait deck. So it's definitely a different version. No Princess, no Knight in this version. We just have the Rascals instead. So it can bait out both Fireball, and with the Mirror, you can definitely do some damage. Definitely, if they use their Log against the Rascals, say, you can hit them double time with that Goblin Barrel. Even if they have a secondary option, you'll still get through. And it beat a Rascals Balloon Miner deck played by Ace. So that was a really cool matchup there. And then we have another 12-game winner. It's a Valkyrie Miner Poison deck. It's kind of a really, really quintessential control deck, and you can get down to Rocket Cycle towards the end of the match. So it's definitely a higher skill cap deck, though, guys, but really, really strong. And it beat... oh my god, it beat another Miner control deck. Not a perfect mirror, but very, very similar. This one has, you can see, they both have the Tesla. This one has the, they both have the Valkyrie. What am I missing? Okay, Ice Wizard. E-Wiz in for Ice Wiz there. So Skeleton's in as well. So a faster version here played by Watson, but another interesting variation of Miner Poison. And then we come down here, it's Manzi playing another Miner Mortar Rascal deck. Surprise, surprise. And hey, look at that. It's a Hog Mortar Rascal deck. These decks are everywhere, and check it out. It's a Miner Mortar Rascal deck, and it beat, whoa, it's a Hog Mortar Rascal deck. I mean, this is insane. We go one down, and check it out. It's a Hog Mortar Rascal deck again, guys. And what did it beat? It beat a Golem non-pump Barbarian Hut deck, which I will be sharing on the channel very, very soon, featuring the Sniper. Really good deck. Really good deck. You know me, I like my Golem decks with pump, but this is a very good version. Very good with a Barbarian Hut. That's right, Barbarian Hut. It's really tough to stop. In this one, again, the same guy playing the same deck, the bait deck. He rattled off a couple GCs in a row, it looks like. And he beat Doberman, who's a really good player. He crushed me recently, just, casual match at night. But, man, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all in a GC. I think it was like the 8th match. Pretty bad. Anyway, he was playing a Mega Knight, Inferno Dragon Bandit E-Wiz deck as well. Another Miner Poison here, guys. Very, very good deck. And that concludes the 12-win decks of the last few hours here. So do you guys like this segment? Again, any feedback would be appreciated. Let's go ahead and move on to the YouTube channel before we get to the ladder decks. All right, guys, so here we are looking at the old YouTube channel. Just kind of want to go through what we did this week, what we covered this week, and kind of look at it in hindsight. I never have done this ever, even personally, privately. I've never looked back at my videos and thinking, oh, I could have done this differently, or this was a great video, I love it. So trying something new, right? You can see 6 days ago, the top 5 ladder decks that will never die. Really big fan of this episode. It's all free-to-play friendly decks. I should have probably emphasized that more in the title. You can see free-to-play all the way at the end. I did share one off-meta deck, which was really funky and not free-to-play. It was the 5th deck that I shared. But surprisingly, I got the most feedback about that deck. It was a Golem Mega Knight deck, and a lot of people were like, I like it. I don't know how it works, but it works. It was like a 5.2 or 5.3 cost deck. Very expensive. But I really was happy with that episode, the best trophy decks. And then the best Hog Pro ever. This one, I think, could probably be my most popular video of the month. It doesn't have a ton of views right now, but that's when Jack was back on the channel. I had to pull a lot of strings to get Jack back on. Reached out to all my Japanese contacts to be like, hey, dude, I needed to get Jack on. Can you do me a solid and ask him to come back on the channel? Speaks very little English, so it was really a pleasure to have him back on. And that was probably my favorite video of the week, just showing his 2.6 Hog Cycle gameplay. And then we have Royal Hogs and Giant Snowball versus a pro. The pro is Sir Tag. Just my first impressions of the cards along with tags. And we just played each other on the dev build. It was a fun video to do. Summer update reaction. That video, I think in hindsight, didn't get a lot of views, which is fine. Not every video for me needs to get a lot of views, but I think that for the June update reaction, I probably should have themed it a little bit more. Reacting to what, Ash? You know, you're just reacting to what? Sneak Peek 1? Because at the time, Sneak Peek 2 didn't even come out yet. So I think in retrospect, I would have kind of made this about one specific thing, you know, like will the new cards be viable or something like that, rather than just broadly talking about the update. Chests are getting buffed, new emotes deck, and way more gold. Again, sneak peek number 2. I was happy with this video. I was very happy with how it came out. Supercell interview on update. I didn't release this on YouTube. You guys can see it's actually set to private here on YouTube, but I did release it exclusively on Facebook because I do create Facebook exclusive content. And it was an interview with the Rumham, aka Seth from Supercell, talking a little bit about the new card progression on ladder. Very nice interview. And then we have 2 Hogs, 1 Deck. I actually changed the middle afterwards because I thought it might be a little bit spicy for some people. So 2 Hogs, 1 Deck, insanely fast, 2.4 and 2.9, double Hog Cycle deck. So it was more of a fun video, this one. I don't think those decks are definitely going to be viable, but we had a lot of fun playing against Radical Rosh live on the dev build, playing some super fast Hog Cycle decks that, honestly, I was surprised at how well they did. It was a really fun video to make, and one of my most popular video of the week as well. 12 hidden secrets. That was just the hidden secrets that I do after every update. Just looking for things that weren't in the patch notes to share with you guys about the update. Was happy with that one. My top 3 new card decks versus Chief Pat. You can see my least popular video of the week. Again, popularity not super important to me, but collaborating with a bigger YouTuber, I thought that one would have done a little bit better. However, you know, maybe it's not everybody's cup of tea, these YouTuber collabs. Of course, a lot of people come here for the pros, the pro content, or for more kind of thought-provoking interviews. This was a little bit more let's play, a little bit more fun with Pat, and I really enjoyed it. And then yesterday's video was, or 2 days ago video, excuse me, was the fastest giant skeleton deck ever by Tilted Eddie. Insane gameplay, very difficult, high skill deck, but he dominates with it, beats a lot of other pros with it all the time. Was a big fan of that one as well. And then this one that's already released at the time of this, at the time of you guys are watching this, but not at the time of this recording, is the Golem Mirror Clone deck. OP 3 crown monster deck. It's definitely the most powerful in terms of sheer 3 crown potential deck that you can possibly assemble in the meta using Mirror and Clone. Really fun. Love doing that one. It's just a really, really dominant deck. Not the best deck in the game, just sheer power to it. You know, one big push, 3 crown, and that's it. Game over, right? So those are the YouTube videos this week. Again, I'm not sure if I'll keep this part of the segment in, so be very, very, honest with me. If you don't like this part, if I think you should do it faster, slower, more feedback, less feedback, go ahead and let me know in the comments. We're making this series together, guys. Now let's look at the ladder decks. All right, guys, here we are looking at Arena 12 win rate ladder decks. So the decks with the highest win rate on Legendary Arena. So check it out. Number 1 is still the Giant 3 Musketeer Battle Ram Pump deck. Are you kidding me? How is this deck still the number 1, right? With all the indirect nerfs to 3 Musketeers, it still stands on top. Surprised to see it, but not surprised because it's a really strong deck. Number 2 is Lava Loon, the classic Lava Loon. Maybe not super classic with the arrows. I think the original version did have the zap in there, but still a very good version. So number 3 is Expo. Surprisingly, again, because of 3 minutes of overtime, a lot of people worried about that, but I looked last night. 4 of the top 5 players on Global, on ladder, were playing either Mortar, 2 were playing Mortar, 2 were playing Expo. 1 was playing a minor control. So wow, that's pretty. That says a lot about the state of Expo. I think the Expo 2.9 version, or the one with the Ice Wizard, or the one with the Valkyrie, they're all super strong still, and I think the Expo's still in a great spot despite the 3 minutes of overtime. I mean, the numbers don't lie. That's what I think, at least. Anyway, Hog Mortar, we saw it everywhere in the challenges. It's still incredibly good in ladder as well. Hog Mortar is number, what is that, 3, 4? And then number 5 is Lava Loon with Lightning. Number 6 is Hog Cycle. I think there's a 3.0 Hog Cycle, I think. Maybe a 2.9. Either way, with a Tesla and the archers in there for the cannon and the musketeer. Also the knight in there for the ice golem, which differentiates the deck from 2.6 Hog Cycle. And then we see Hog Exinado still going strong as well. Hog Exinado with the rocket in there. A really strong deck, but me personally, I prefer the Hog Cycle deck with Mini P.E.K.K.A. and Princess and Rocket as opposed to this one. It's hard to compare because this one has Exinado and that one doesn't, but I just like that deck better. Anyway, this is my food for thought. The next one's going to be a Lava Loon again. So Lava Loon is dominating ladder. We don't hear a lot about it. I do have a new Lava Hound deck, not Lava Loon, no balloon, but Lava Hound deck to share with you guys next week that I'm looking forward to doing so. Then we have just straight up Mortar Cycle, and then we have a giant, that we talked about this deck earlier, right? It's the giant Mini P.E.K.K.A. Musketeer deck, still a very, very strong deck, and then the classic 3 Musketeer deck, and then more Hog and Mortar as we go on. It takes us all the way down to what, number 10 or 11 or whatever, to see the first bait deck as far as win rates go at 55%. So definitely looking like it's always been for the most part, right? Maybe a little bit more Siege, but still a lot of Hog, still not a ton of beatdown, some 3 Musketeers, a couple giant decks, that's about it. Let's look at Ladder Arena 11 and just see if there's anything different here if we go one step down. Now, popularity is a different story. We'll take a look at that in just a second. But win percentage, you can see Bait in Arena 11 is the number 1 deck. So really interesting to compare and contrast Arena 11 with Arena 12, how Bait is number 1 here. Bait is also number 2 here. That's crazy. And then we get into a Golem deck. So again, really a big difference when you get to that, 3,800 and above on trophies. Right below that, the meta is really different, a lot different. You're seeing Golem decks. You're seeing a lot more Bait decks. You're seeing, look at this, a Bridge Spam deck in here, and then a giant deck with Ewiz, double Prince, and then a really funky Hog Bait deck. So you guys can see the meta is a lot different in between just 2 arenas, but it's worth noting these are all very viable decks as well. Of course, I'll have the links to all these deck selection screens. You guys can pick one that you're comfortable with and go ahead and try it out. Let me just look one more time at Arena 12 here, guys. And what I want, oops. Don't want to go in depth on the deck, on the Ice Spirit, I should say. I just want to look at Arena 12 by popularity. Number 1 deck by a long shot is the Bait deck. So a lot of Bait players out there. Then we go to 3 Musketeers. Then we go to 2.6 Hog Cycle. Of course, the quintessential free-to-play deck, very, very strong. And then the Golem deck with the Lumberjack and the Night Witch. Probably still the strongest Golem deck in the game right now. Clayton finished number 1 with it 2 seasons ago, and ever since then, it's basically been at the top in terms of popularity. And then another version of Bait with the Tesla, and then another Golem Double Prince, the classic Golem Double Prince. After the Princes initially got buffed, that deck is still around. I'm sure a lot of you guys love it. So guys, we can keep going forever here, taking a look at all the decks, but I think that's going to do it. This is exactly what I had in mind for a format, so let me know what you guys think of it. Again, really appreciate your feedback. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below. Thanks for watching. I'll have a double upload today, so another upload later on tonight. Every Sunday will will continue to be a double upload, and I still will upload CRL coverage to you guys. I've just been slacking a little bit as CRL China is on a break, NA in EU in Latin America haven't started yet, and Asia is coming to the very end. I'll probably have a recap coming soon. So guys, thanks again, and as always, take care, guys.